I'm a Team GB 100 and 200 meter sprinter on a journey to the LA 28 Olympics, and lately I've been finding new ways to train and get faster whilst recovering from an injury. In this video we'll be taking a closer look at how effective drills can improve your sprint technique. We'll be putting into practice some technical changes to get me back up to speed. I've spent a lot of time figuring out different methods to optimise performance, and here I'll be sharing my journey whilst giving advice on how you can get faster too. I'm training hard, working on my weaknesses and starting to hit some big numbers in the weight room, so let's get to it.
Right, it's been a while, but we're basically looking at trying to get my body moving again in a more specific way. So we're going to go through some drills now. So the aim of today is just to try and get a feel for my body again, put in some form of impact through the ground so I can get this Achilles reconditioned. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is just some low dribbles, which is just the idea of me getting a feel for the ground with the ball of my foot without dropping my heel too quickly. So the idea with this is I've got to be very strong through my toes, through the ball of my foot, to make sure that when I contact the ground, I'm not collapsing here, which is putting strain and tension on the Achilles.
So we are back for another episode, and kicking off this video, here I am doing some drills, getting back used to using my body in a more functional way. Starting off with the low dribble, nice and easy, and as we go through these drills I'm going to be speaking a lot more about the technical side of things because I think it's something that's massively overlooked, especially when people are warming up.
Next one we're going to go for is some single leg A-skips, just to get a feel for the difference between the left and the right, make sure that I'm putting correct pressure through both of my feet and not favouring this left side. Whilst we're at this lower intensity, now is a good chance to be working on that technique.
Those of you that have been watching for a while will know that I'm dealing with an ongoing Achilles problem, so this is kind of the next step for me to get back into running. Doing some drills, getting used to my body again, and I'm doing things with a single leg so I can get a feel of the difference between the left and right, which I'm going to speak about in a moment. And so here I'm just trying to feel out if there's any imbalances going on.
So I found doing the A-skips more challenging for my Achilles when I was doing them on the left side. Now you'd think naturally, obviously it's my right Achilles that I'm having issues with. A-skips on the right side is where I'm putting more force through that right side. However, I'm able to land more flat-footed because I'm contacting the ground like this. I'm not springing. Whereas when I'm balancing with the right leg as opposed to the left leg, this one is kind of up in a raised position. If I'm contacting the ground doing the A-skip, I'm a little bit more flat. Whereas this one is the one that's stabilizing, doing all the work. So if I'm here, I can feel more awareness doing it this way. It kind of emphasizes the importance of the stabilizing leg, not just when we're doing drills, but when we're running as well. So it's something that I've got to keep in my mind, make sure that I'm not just being passive with the leg that's on the ground. It's easy to just think, right, I'm doing right leg, single leg A-skip, and I'm focusing on the right leg. But clearly this left leg is doing a lot of the work as well. I'm going to challenge myself a little bit more now. I'm going to turn the A-skip into a fast leg.
So turning the A-skip into a fast leg, getting a feel for the contact on the ball of the foot. Straight away, this is where I'm starting to notice the imbalance. You can see here the left side is a lot more punchy and I'm a lot more confident. Being aware of these things is very important to make sure that I'm not training bad habits.
When we do the fast legs, my general confidence and awareness reverses, and I think that's just because when you do an A-skip versus a fast leg, we slightly shift the distribution of our weight in the foot. So when I'm doing an A-skip, you can see that I'm getting a little bit more up on the foot here, whereas a fast leg, I'm actually punching down on the ball of the foot. This actually feels more comfortable than this. As you can see, just look at the difference in the right foot. So there's a lot more stabilization going on as opposed to there. So it's pretty interesting. That's something that I need to think about. When I'm doing these drills, it's actually pretty good. I have a slight awareness, which I guess we probably class as like a 1 out of 10, which is fine for tendon problems. We just don't want it to be creeping up to like a 4, 5, 6 out of 10. Awareness, but not necessarily pain, that's fine.
So here we go with the straight leg bounds, and this is probably the one where I'm least confident.
Yeah, the straight legs are definitely where I feel hesitant. I think because I'm putting so much force down like this. With the left, I'm very confident to push down with the ball of the foot, whereas with the right I feel like I'm very flat-footed. I'm not confident to land on the ball and punch the foot away. So I'm going to do one more of those and really try and focus on the symmetry and my rhythm as opposed to the force.
Here I'm giving myself a small technical cue, which is just not to move over the foot too much with the hip to minimise the stretch in the Achilles and also to relax a little bit more as well.
That was a bit better. I feel like my arms are a bit weird. I think there's a lot of weird stuff going on right now, but it's been a while since I've done this consistently. So it's just nice to be back actually in my trainers doing something on the track. What I'll say to all athletes, I feel like drilling is one of the most important things, and it's often super overlooked as well. Seeing it as just a warm-up rather than actual reinforcement of your mechanics. If you drill incorrectly, the likelihood is you're going to be running incorrectly as well. You can get information from what's going on here. Find ways to make progress that's off the track, which is pretty much going to be the theme of this video, figuring out how to run faster without blasting flat out 60s, flat out 100s. Last drill, and then we're heading into the gym.
So here I'm just focusing on trying to be really relaxed, and I think it's been a good thing being able to do drills sub-maximally and start to think about cleaning up my technique.
It feels more comfortable at the start than what it does at the end, as I'm starting to naturally pick up momentum, pick up velocity. As I'm landing on the foot, and obviously as I start moving faster, it means my hips coming more forward over the foot, which is causing more of a stretch. So I think, again, focus on getting the rhythm right, do it fairly quickly, but just very much limiting how quickly I'm moving forward. So really just focus on the pop of the knee and the thigh straight up, rather than trying to land and extend the hip over the foot too quick.
Similarly to the straight leg bounce, here we're trying to focus on less forward motion, really keeping the hip over the top of the foot rather than moving over and being a little bit more punchy. And in this case, doing it pretty well.
Way better. My rhythm actually felt a lot better then. I just wasn't moving over the hip as much. Definitely good progress. I'm really happy that I'm able to do this without any problems. Like, I still feel good, no twinges, no tweaks. Consistency is just going to be the key with this, as cliche as it is. All the core work, conditioning, strength work, cardio, recovery stuff, Achilles loading, that's all going to be part of it. Mobility work, but this is now the next progression that I need to be keeping on top of, basically. So, but let's head in the gym, get a session in, see how I'm feeling tomorrow.
I'm starting to incorporate a lot of different elements into my S&C training, especially because I'm not running as much on the track anymore, so we need to have a lot of variety, a lot of conditioning. This specific workout is pretty brutal, and it's one way that I've been getting my conditioning back up to scratch. It basically involves a non-stop circuit between 100 abs and 500 meters on the row machine. A brutal one, it lasts about 20 to 25 minutes.
Oh man, 5k done. Just coming up to 30 minutes. Oh, sweating. Got to find a way to replicate that calorie burn. I'm doing a sprint session, full warm up and sprint, probably putting away 1,000 calories. So I need to make sure I'm keeping on top of this, because I think that was my problem before. Not enough cardio, struggling to stay lean. We're getting back on it. 8 weeks, I'll be in peak shape.
This is unstoppable motion.
Right then, back for another TSO reviews. This is the segment in the video where you guys send in your footage, whether that's block starts, upright running, anything that you want reviewing for technical analysis. So today's clip, we've got Pablo. Thanks Pablo for sending in your clip. This is a block start, so let's take a look what's going on. Pablo here is in lane 8, so the closest to the camera. Small twitch, driving out the blocks, staying relatively low, and it looks like they've gone out to about 30 meters. Okay, cool. So there's a few things that I'm straight away seeing from this. Pablo has the right idea, pushing out, extending the acceleration as far as possible. The main things that I'm seeing comes from the first 3 steps really. The first step kind of stubs the toe into the ground a little bit, doesn't really create enough space between the foot and the track to actually drive back and contact the track with a little bit more velocity with the foot. We just call that negative foot velocity basically. So what that is, this is the foot, this is the point where we want to contact the track. We want to drive forward and then start to move the foot backwards to contact this point. So instead of reaching out and stubbing the toe, or reaching out, grabbing and pulling, come past the point of contact, not by too much, but by enough to where we can then accelerate the foot back and down so it's picking up velocity. By the time it contacts the ground, we already have a lot of negative velocity, so the foot's driving backwards, so then that's going to contact the track, and then we can get the counter movement off of the track. That's basically what we're looking for. And what we're seeing here with Pablo, very minimal negative foot velocity. Although the shin angle is in quite a nice position, and then we look straight onto the second contact. Step 2, very flat-footed, and then notice the hips pop up. Step 3 is actually quite nice. I'd say step 3 is probably the best out of the first 3, and then we're just landing with a little bit of flat feet. The hip needs to roll off the foot so you can get a powerful punch, and then each contact should become slightly more bouncy, slightly more crisp than the last as you go down the track. We want to start nice and direct, so without stubbing the toes in, without landing with the hip behind the foot, and then being able to accelerate from there. But generally accelerating pretty well. Definitely quick. A little bit of lateral movement, especially with this left arm as well, could potentially cause a few problems. So this left arm is coming across quite a lot, which is creating a little bit too much rotation. A little bit of rotation is natural. A common kind of myth, textbook technique is absolutely zero rotation, just completely hip square, shoulder square. But really, if you look at most of the best athletes, use some kind of rotation to generate slightly more torque. So we do want a little bit of rotation, but this is what we would call excessive. But overall, good work, Pablo. I think your start is very solid overall. Couple tweaks to make. I think definitely looking at the first 2 steps is going to be massive. That tends to be the problem with a lot of people. Let's try and spend a little bit longer in the block. Make sure we're using the block pad as much as possible. Create a little bit more space between the first foot and the track, so you can really drive the foot down hard, contact the track with the foot moving at more velocity, and from there you'll get a lot more momentum. But yeah, thanks Pablo for sending that video in. If you want your clip to be reviewed in a TSO episode, follow us on Instagram at The Speed Operation, drop us a DM with the clip, and I'm gonna pick a couple out and we'll do a detailed analysis just like this. If you're wanting detailed analysis just like that, full programming, full coaching, full adjustments, S&C and track, a fully customized plan every single month, then consider joining Team TSO. There'll be a link in the description to join Team TSO. 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters. Booking a call with myself for free for all of our athletes. No 2 people have the exact same plan. S&C, track, plyometrics, recovery, mobility, everything's covered in one plan. The guys that are currently working with us on Team TSO, we've had some brilliant results. Team TSO, apply to work with us. Right, let's keep moving.
Couple days later and we're back in the gym, this time focusing on some strength gains. Now those of you that have watched the channel for a while will know that my squatting strength historically hasn't been the best, so I'm using this time to really push on as we're chasing that double bodyweight squat. More recently in my plan, kind of the last 8 months, we've been going for some incline dumbbell press. Now typically I've been doing around 34 to 36, but I was feeling pretty strong today. And here we've got probably what has become my bread and butter over the last few months. Over the years my hamstrings have been my weakest muscle group, but stay tuned, the next couple videos we're making some huge gains.
This is unstoppable motion.
It's a nice day for once in Sheffield. I'm down doing some drills today, so this is the second time of this week where I'm doing some drills. It's been a good week, to be honest. I think I'm definitely starting to make progress in a lot of different ways. I need to find ways to make progress off the track. I actually feel pretty good. I definitely feel like I've lost a little bit of my spring, but strength-wise in the gym, I'm actually feeling pretty good. My conditioning's a lot better now. I've been working on my core, working on my general cardio. Aerobically, I'm pretty good at the moment. I think as well, I've lost a little bit of weight, so I'm feeling a little bit more trim. I'm a little bit leaner now because I've been working hard. This week, obviously, we've got a lot of work done. Starting to get used to doing a lot more drills. I'm definitely a little bit rusty with all of my drills, which is going to be the main thing at the moment. So I think now I'm using this time to get used to doing the drills again, honing my technique a little bit more so that by the time I get back to running, I'm not completely like a fish out of water, basically. I think my mobility needs to be worked on slightly too, but overall, we've just got to count our blessings, and progress is progress at the end of the day. We can make progress in a lot of different ways. It's not always linear, it's not always just what's going on the track. In 2021, I was injured the entire season, didn't race once, and 2022 is the season where I ran my 200 metre PB, which actually still stands today. As you saw earlier in the video, hamstring strength straight up, core conditioning up, aerobic fitness up. Let's go.
After doing my drills for the second time in the week, we're back in the gym, and part of what's on the agenda today are some technical hang cleans and some heavy bench press. Alright, warming up on the bench press with 90 kg here. A couple of warm-up sets and then we're going to go for a heavy double to finish. Typically, I get a good idea of how my body's feeling with the way 100 kg moves. Today it's moving well, so it's time to go.
Alright, so we've got 110 on the bar, 110 kilos bench press. This will be the heaviest I've benched in like the last 2 years. Those of you that are the OGs of the channel will know that I used to bench a lot, pretty heavy as well. And I had a bit of a shoulder problem that lingered around for a long time. You'll have seen me back on the dumbbells. I found that a good way to rehab was doing incline dumbbell press, which I'm now pretty decent at. We've managed to make it back onto the flat bench. My all-time record on the bench is 135 kg. I've not done anything over 100 in like the last 2 years. So, see how this goes. Hopefully it moves well. Let's go. Yep. That was all right. Do 120. If I can do 120, I'll be happy with that today. 120. I'm hoping I can do a double, but we'll see. I want at least one. I don't want to fail on 120. The 110, I look back on the video, it moved pretty decently. So I think 120 will be good. My body weight at the moment is sitting at about 72 to 73 kg. Yeah, my all-time best is 135. I was a bit heavier when I did that. I was about 74 kg, 75. Body weight best, I did 130 at around 70 to 71 kg. 120 for a double, ideally. Let's see what we can do. Light. Push. Hit. Oh. Yep. Right. We'll take that. A bit ropey, but we take it. We're making progress, we're making gains on and off the track. My main priority is rehabbing the Achilles, which is proving to take a little bit of time, but we're working on it, we're getting there. Obviously, I'm getting a lot stronger, my conditioning's better, aerobic fitness is better. Next episode, I'm gonna be showing you a little bit more as to how I've gone about my strength program. Shout out to Pure Sport, best electrolytes in the game. A massive shout out to UPerform. Collagen, I'm taking this every day as well. Use our code TSO10 to save yourself money off at the checkout. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you made it this far, subscribe. We're wrapped up. So yeah, the grind continues. Getting into some form of running sessions, hopefully, in the near future. We just got to stay diligent, stay committed to the process, and do what I've got to do. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, showing some love. Subscribe if you made it this far, and we'll see you in the next one.